Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. I feel like everything this month ended at the same time, and I didn't want to bombard you with like a bunch of stuff. So this one's a little late, but no big deal. So this is my visual journal. Typically I use this pen and some sort of color pencil, like either this one when I'm on the go. These are very small. Or if I'm coloring at the desk, I'll grab Prismacolors or these woodless pencils. So let's look at the drawings. First day of May was a little bit chaotic. My boyfriend hurt his ankle, so we had to go to like minor emergency. Luckily, it's all okay. No big deal. It was just like a sprain. And then the next day, I felt like I was getting sick. So starting off the month like a champ. This was day 70 of the 100-day challenge, and I painted this little like landscape rock and just kind of incorporated that into my like moodometer, because I really like that rock a lot. So I got a little cute plant from my studio, and the next day I just gave my studio a little cleanup, planted a bunch of stuff in the garden, and pretty much was just kind of chill weekend basically. The day after that, we finished up this project that we had been working on for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something, building this playhouse, or I guess restoring this playhouse. We modified it a little bit to make a sandbox, kind of in the bottom part of it, but we didn't tell my son that we were doing that, so it was a big surprise, and he was super excited about it, like over the moon. He loves playing with sand. And then I got a surprise package in the mail from the lovely Olinda. It was full of so many cool art supplies. There's a little stamp that was in here. I used some of the pencils. They're like Derwent Inktense pencils. So much cool stuff. More on her later. The next day, I was feeling a little bit better, probably because I gathered a bunch of mulberries from our tree and made a Dutch baby, and that thing was delicious. Otherwise, pretty typical day, errands with my son, and then some chicken chores, which I really love this little drawing. My little chickens. More errands the next day, but then we went to the library for story time. They had a space theme story time, so I was really interested in taking my son to see that one. And they did this thing with this like big parachute thing. I feel like I remember doing that as a kid at least once, but the kids had an awesome time. And then we had the night off, so me and my boyfriend went to watch a movie. Next day, I got some pretty sad news and was feeling pretty bummed, so didn't really do too much in here. That's okay. Next day, kind of back at it. I did some tutorials from on Marwin. I got a book of hers and was just kind of working through some of the tutorials, and they were very helpful. After that, after work, I went out to the garden to do some weeding and started seeing some tomatoes, which I was really excited for. And then at the end of the night, we read this book that we had gotten from the library called Safe Crossing, which was super cute. I'm trying to kind of document some of the books that we've really enjoyed so that, later on I know if I want to buy some of them. I would imagine that this was probably like the last day at work of the week, so I was pretty much over it at that point. There was a lot of traffic coming home, but I did stop by my favorite coffee shop and got a coffee and a cookie, which made everything a lot better. And then I wrote this kind of silly note here about how much I am not enjoying how much space my son is occupying in the tub now. It's hard watching your little ones get not so little anymore. Next day was Mother's Day. We went and saw my mom and my sister and hung out over there for a while. My son is obsessed with lawn mowing machines, so he was literally pushing a push mower around the yard. So silly. And then when we got home, we read another library book that we had picked out, which also was so adorable. I think this one I really am actually going to buy because it was so cute. It was called Beyond the Pond, and the illustration style was gorgeous. The story was adorable. Everything about it was so good. Next day, I was like, you ever have like a day where you do a bunch of fun stuff, and then the next day you're like, now I've got to pay for that. I had so much stuff to do, and it was just like, I don't know, ADHD is weird like that. It's like you have so much to do that it just like paralyzes you. So next day we ended up going to the beach to just kind of break it up a little bit. And I'm glad that we did, because even though the beach was a mess, like an absolute mess, there were all these like huge logs on it, and my son had an awesome time like playing on them and balance beaming and all kinds of stuff. And I found this cool piece of driftwood that I ended up bringing home with me. I also spent some time in the garden trying to get my tomatoes to do what I need them to do, but to be honest, they are out of control. I don't know why, but the tomatoes love our dirt. So, not complaining, but they are a mess. The next day I had to do a bunch of forms, which I think I can probably speak for at least some of my ADHD people. Forms are like a special place in hell. So I hate it. Next day was art hang party. This one was opera. I also had a dish that I made, I guess, this shaved carrot salad was good enough to put in here so that I remember to make it again. The next day was pretty fun. I was wanting to attend this workshop that was being put on by Blue Shine Art and Books Are My People. It was a jelly printing demonstration, but I don't have a jelly plate, so I was like, let me try a couple things and see if it works. I tried Speedy Carve block, and that did not work. The ink just stuck to it and would not come off. And then I tried Silmat, which is like a little baking sheet, a silicone baking sheet, and that one worked sort of, but there was like this texture on it that I didn't really enjoy. So I had to come up with a different solution, because I'm really, really trying to not buy a lot of art supplies before I use what I have. So I had one more idea, and that one actually did work. I'll have to do like, I don't know, a little demonstration or something at one point or another. I went to this bookstore because in the same breath that I said I didn't want to buy art supplies, they had a special edition Blackwing pencil that I really wanted. And I wanted to see if they sold the pencils individually, because I didn't want to buy an entire box. They did not. They only sold the box, and I ended up not buying them, mainly because I really like the matte Blackwing pencils, the really like dark ones, and these were, although very pretty on the outside, not the matte style, so I decided that I didn't need them. And then, just so that you guys understand my very cryptic message here, if you grow tomatoes, you probably have heard of the tomato hornworm, which basically will eat your entire plant overnight if you don't find them. So you have to go out in the night with a black light to find these little fuckers and eradicate them, because it's hard to see them in the daytime because they literally look, their camouflage is so good that they look like a curled up leaf. It's crazy. Nature is crazy. So anyways, we went out, me and my son went out to find those worms and put them in a bucket. We were going to feed them to the chickens, but it turns out that they, because they eat tomato plants, they're full of nightshade. So the chickens do not like them. Next day was just a dumpster fire of a day. So I came home and made like a really easy dinner. And then my son decided to not make it so easy by making a huge mess. But luckily, my dog came in like a champ and helped clean up. The next day, I went and had my coffee in the garden. It was just like a beautiful day. And then later that day, I took the weed eater out to get through some of the like heavier weeds, which honestly I think made it worse. I feel like they came back stronger. It's an uphill battle, y'all. The next day, more forms, but at least we got some cute pictures out of it. The next day, I was a mess. We took our son to go visit the daycare that he would be starting. And he seemed completely unfazed by it, but we were not. He was sitting in his teacher's lap within 3 minutes of being there. He's a very sweet and very friendly kid. Then we went for a walk around the property and saw some elderflower and dewberries in the back pasture, which I have to figure out how to get to because I need them. I need them in my belly. Next day, I was feeling a little sassy. I was dealing with a annoying coworker, and I was already over it by 11 a.m. I did stop by Michael's. I needed something. I'm trying to remember what it was that I was looking for. Oh, I think I went to go and look for a jelly plate, but ended up having like the wrong one or something. But I did find these cool Sennelier brush pens, which have been pretty fun. I did buy them on clearance. They are available like on Amazon, but they're expensive. And if I can be real frank, like I like them, but I hate the lids. The lids are like, I don't know, so hard to put back on. It's kind of annoying. So I'm going to say 7 out of 10 on these for sure. That day was accidentally Wes Anderson for art hang party, which I was super excited about, but had such a weird drawing day. Like I was struggling the entire time. I don't know why. I think I was still reeling from the morning and being annoyed. So that one I may go back and do again or something when I'm in a more relaxed and better mood. The next day I popped over to an estate sale that had a bunch of art supplies. It was mostly like quilting, fabric, things like that. But they did have a lot of like cutting mats and cutting tools. So I picked up a couple things that I thought might be useful for when I eventually learn how to sew. And everything was super cheap. I felt like I was stealing. The next day, I was doing so much at work that I just felt like I was being buried by paperwork. So I came home and made a huge pot of chili, which was the best decision ever because it was delicious. And then we went out to the garden and saw our first little zucchini, which I was really excited about. The next day was an awesome day. I got to hang out with Olinda from Olinda's Artistic Oddities in real life. We met up at the museum and walked around, and then we went and got some pizza, and I got to swatch and play with all of her art supplies, which was super fun. I felt like I was in one of her videos. And we went back to the museum, did a little bit more exploring, and I mean, I just had an awesome time, and it will not be the last one because we had too good of a time for it to be something that never happens again. So if you have not seen her channel, please go check it out. It's awesome. She does amazing art haul videos. She breaks down all the supplies that she's using. She swatches everything. And then she does these like amazing sketchbook tours too. So a lot of fun stuff happening over there. I will link her channel in the description below. Next day, my garden was looking super good. Everything was blooming. I don't know, everything about it was just making my heart sing. I did do some weeding, but even that wasn't so bad. And then my son was also cracking me up because he was eating literally everything in the garden. Raw green beans. Can you eat green beans raw? I don't even know. He was eating them. Tomatoes that probably weren't even ready yet. Like, my tomatoes are in peril with this boy. He was just ripping things out and eating them. That being said, I'm very thankful that he enjoys vegetables because there are a lot of them. Next day, we went to Goodwill to get just some basically like clothes that he could go to daycare in because I know that he is a messy eater and they play outside. So I didn't want to send him with anything nice. Just some comfy play clothes that he can get messy in and I don't have to worry about it. We went and got some snacks and I harvested my first zucchini from the garden. The next day was a pretty fun day. In the morning, Shar from Blue Shine Art painted my portrait. It came out amazing. I love watching her work. I just joined her free sessions on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, but she does have a Patreon where she gets more in depth with her tutorials and has like face-to-face kind of meetings with her group. So definitely go and check out her channel. Again, I'll link it all in the description below. And then that was Orion's first day at daycare. He had a great time. Teacher said he did amazing. We were a little bit of a mess about it, but we managed. And then when we picked him up, we told him that he could have a treat, and he decided that he wanted a drink from Sonic for some bizarre reason. I feel like now I know where the grandparents take him. So we went and got a drink from Sonic, and he chose the blue one, and it made his mouth all blue. I'm horrified, but he had a good time. And then we just played outside the rest of the night. It was a really, really fun day. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I did do like a double spread here and on the other page because this book is pretty much done. So yeah, just a couple pages left and then we're starting a new one. The next day, I had too much work to do, even to do art hang party. So I couldn't do the jellyfish session. I'll have to do the replay. I did manage to draw one jellyfish. Still had a bunch of work to do. and little man was having a little bit of a rougher time that day at daycare. And it's just a really hard feeling, like being so far away. But at the end of the day, we all cuddle puddled and basically everything was just fine. Next day was another day. I went out to the garden in the morning just to kind of check on everything. All of my green beans were growing in, which was pretty cool. And I went to an art market just at a little coffee shop, and I ended up seeing a friend, kind of a new friend, but then I saw this friend that I hadn't seen in like years. And it was pretty cool to see her. She makes the most amazing, like, handmade sketchbooks and journals. I'll probably show you in a video because I did end up buying one, and I do have like a plan for it. So, and then I went to the art store really quick, just to kind of poke around, and I found some Neocolors that were metallic, which was pretty neat. So I picked up a couple of those, just like a little bit. And yeah. Oh, and some sketchbooks, because again, this one was running out, so I needed another sketchbook. I had more sketchbooks, but I was kind of debating on whether or not I wanted to go up a size or if I wanted to stay at this size. And ultimately, I decided that I wanted to stay at this size. I feel like most of the time, the size of this page is just right. Every once in a while, I feel like I've got more that I need to put in there. And I think the solution for that will be like just doing a double page spread. We also read this book at the end of the night called Thunder Trucks, which was really cute. Orion really liked that one and asked for me to read it 2 more times before we returned it. And I started doing one, but then I realized that was the end of the month. This was the 31st, so I ended up just leaving a handful of pages in the back blank and finishing this one up. So that's the end of this book. I have already started another one. Ended up going with a different color that kind of reflected the season a little bit, even though this one was about 5 months. So this one will go into fall as well. But I put a cute sticker on the outside of it. This one's by Debbie Draws Funny. She also has a great channel. She does all kinds of different drawing sessions, generally speaking, with really weird stuff. So if you're into that, definitely check her channel out. And then I put a couple stickers on the back. This one is by Project Parlor, and this one is by Olinda. So everything will be linked. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little tour and finishing up this book. And I'll leave you with a little time lapse of me filling out my next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. It helps my channel a lot. And hit that like button. All right, see you guys.